Hello viewers, I welcome you to Students Talk Show.
Timing yourself, discipline and timing is very important.
So I may say, okay, I do understand my courses once it's 2 weeks to the exam. So I need
Because
to
from what I know, attendance also have a percentage of mark. So in
Okay,
terms
okay,
of
okay, okay,
marks.
okay, okay.
So
Hello viewers, I welcome you to Students Talk Show, where we discuss issues that students are being faced with in the university. My name is Ucheji Nemeka Alex from the Department of Theatre Arts in Delta State University, Ampaka. And I'm not in the studio alone, I'm here with my friends. I'm here with, by my right hand, I have Adepiena Kasme from the Department of History and International Studies. I'm also here with Frank Levi Ogenero from the Department of History and International Studies. Today's topic is very, very important for students on campuses because most students don't actually know the main reason why they are reading their books. Now, the question now is, reading 2 weeks to an exam, can it help or make a student have good grades in his exam? Let me start with Kasme, please.
I think for a student to read 2 weeks to an exam and also make good grades, it has to take a lot of effort from the very student. And some of the things that these students could possibly do includes knowing what this particular course entails, getting hold of the materials that were recommended for the course.
Wait, excuse me. Are you trying to say reading 2 weeks to an exam will definitely make a student have good grades?
It is very, very possible.
And let's say for Frank. Frank, what do you have to say concerning this?
Well, to be sincere, I would say it's not like it's impossible.
Okay.
I, for one, would not want to advise a student to actually wait up to 2 weeks before the
Exactly.
exam, before they start reading their books. But however, if you find yourself in such a situation, there are ways through which you can actually scale through and you get good grades. Now, talking about getting good grades, let's start with stating that the student must first of all have good CAs, because you cannot be thinking about getting good grades without having good CAs on ground. Continuous assessment is very important in getting good grades. You understand? So, leaving the side of CA aside, the student must be very dedicated. Like there's this analogy I always use when I discuss similar issues like this on reading late to the exam. Now, one of them is timing yourself. Discipline and timing is very important. Let's go like this. If a student reads 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, 2 hours in the evening, you will be reading 6 hours in a day. Then if you are reading 6 hours in a day, let's go by 10 days. 6 times 10, you'll be reading 60 hours in a day. I mean in 10 days, sorry. In 10 days.
Then let me cut it short. You see, the reason why most students find it difficult, to excel in their studies. You know what? One of my friends said something. He said some students, they have allowed, schooling to affect their education. You see, they don't know the reason why they are in school. The main reason why your parents send you to school, number one, is for you to read your books. But most students along the line, they allow schooling to affect their education. Meaning, time for them to read, they won't be reading. They'll be elsewhere going to parties, and this affects their grade. So to me, it's my own view. The duration you have before writing an exam doesn't matter. For me, what matters most is, did you understand what your lecturer teaches you before writing the exam? So I might say, okay, I do understand my courses once it's 2 weeks to the exam, so I need to read. No, you understand? But the main important thing here is that, do you understand what you read? You understand? Now, let me ask one question. Is there any recommended, pattern that once you read your book like this or like that, you must have a good grade? Is there any pattern like that?
I don't think there's any strict pattern to read in preparing for an exam and you get it. I think different patterns work for different students.
Exactly.
And that is where a student understanding what works for them comes into play. You know that you are an early riser. That means you could actually wake up very early in the morning and read your book. For some people, they can stay awake even up until 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
But for some others, it does not work like that. So I think a student has to find out what works for them before they would go out of their way to venture into any of the.
Now this question now is going to Levi. Levi, there are some students, like I do have a friend of mine who said he doesn't read his book. But once it comes to exam period, he must read. And what would be your advice to that person?
I will start by saying.
And the guy, listen, excuse me. Okay, and the guy wants to have a good grade. Wants to have good grade in his course.
Because that's the aim of every student, if I may say.
Exactly.
I will start by saying reading is a psychological affair. One must firstly understand himself or herself to be able to know the method through which he or she can employ when reading. So, for someone like me, I will use myself as an instance. I can't read 2 weeks to the exam because I don't accumulate much at once. And so before you cut me short the last time I was talking about an analogy of reading 60 hours in 10 days. You understand? That's almost like reading for over 2.5 days. You understand? If we go by the 24 hour per day, you understand? Now, let's come like this. That's enough time for a student who can accumulate much, you understand, to cover a lot of courses. So if we go by personal differences, we will see that students are different. And
yes, exactly.
You can read 2 weeks to the exam and you will have good grades. And I can read 2 weeks to the exam and I will fail. Wow. You understand? And I was also making a point the other time that our CAs are very, very important when it comes to having good grades. Just imagine a student scoring 30 in an exam without a CA. That is you failing. You are already failing.
Okay, so what you're trying to tell us that whether you read 2 weeks to an exam or 3 weeks to an exam doesn't matter. What matters most now from you is the CA.
I think what he's trying to say is that CA is a crucial perspective on whether or not this person will pass. Because in our school here in Delta State University, the CA is just 30 marks, then for the exam is 70. So if a student is able to get an aggregate of 25 marks in the cumulative aggregate, then whatever you get in your exam, if you're able to score even 30, as you gave in the instance, plus the 25, that would give you a pass mark.
That's a B.
Okay. So in a nutshell now, you're trying to tell me that before one could have a good grade, he or she needs to balance his academics entirely, as in getting his CA done. And what again?
I think the problem we're actually tackling is whether or not a student can read in 2 weeks and still get a good grade in the exam. Exactly. Which means that if the student had been attending classes, because from what I know, attendance also have a percentage of mark. 10 marks. So if you're able to attend classes and do the stipulated assignments or any kind of coursework that your lecturer give you, and you are unable to read, I think that is where the issue we are tackling today comes.
Okay, now are you trying to say if a guy is a student is serious with his CA, his attendance, his assignment, and if he doesn't read 2 weeks for an exam, he will still we still have good grade.
I think you're getting it wrong. We didn't say if he doesn't read 2 weeks to an exam. We are not saying
no. Our point is
if you are able to secure your CA, get yourself sealed when it comes to issues of CA. Probably you are scoring 20 in your CA, and you are reading 2 weeks to the exam. There's a possibility that you score 30 over 70 in the exam, which means automatically you are giving yourself a C already, which is a very good grade.
Okay. Now I do know some students who don't involve in CA, who doesn't do CA, but they read 2 weeks for an exam. Yes, they come out with good grades. So what are you going to tell me about?
I think that is a dead sentence, and you must be an extraordinary student to be able to
some people have that
do
belief.
Something like that.
Some people have that belief. They don't attend classes.
But I think that is not a very good bedrock to build this argument on.
Okay.
Because reading 2 weeks to an exam, your chances are now very limited if you don't have any mark in your CA. But what we are trying to highlight now is that CA is very crucial on whether a student can come out successfully in an exam when they read 2 weeks to it.
2 weeks on an exam. So the CA now, we are trying to elaborate that CA is very important, and we are now eliminating the fact that reading that 2 weeks to an exam doesn't matter.
No, I think that is buttressing the entire point.
That's where you're getting it wrong. Yeah,
Wow.
we are not saying that reading 2 weeks to the exam is not important. All we are saying is, in fact, I would actually fault a student who is actually going to keep his studies or towards the exam to 2 weeks before the exam. You understand?
wait.
But there are some circumstances. Excuse me. There are some circumstances that can make students venture into such acts. You understand?
Like
Reading 2 weeks to.
Okay, wait,
Financial
excuse me now. There's this trend now going on in the school. Once it's 2 weeks to an exam, there you will see students going for awoko. You see, they have that belief that, okay, once I read 2 weeks to an exam, I must have good grade. So what's that drive that you need to change?
I think it's only natural that when an exam is fast approaching, that the level of student seriousness towards
Commitment,
reading
yeah.
becomes heightened. But from what we've seen in most of these awoko, they even tend to be distracted in these night classes that they go to. They go there and the classes are filled to the brim. And the other students that we are supposed to be reading in these classes, they make noise. Others play loud music and they don't even do the reading. So I think students could actually do so well even in their very rooms.
Okay.
Or they could read during the day. It does not necessarily have to be when everybody is gathering to the classes in the night.
Okay. Now, my question now is, let's not eliminate the fact that reading 2 weeks to an exam is important. Now, what will a student add in his preparation towards the exam that will make him have good grades, including reading 2 weeks to an exam? And what again?
We have clearly stated, CA is very important.
The CA.
But in the absence of it, making good grades is also very, very possible.
It is.
Okay.
I remembered there was a time one of my professors once said something. He stated that there was a student who didn't attend his class. Same student didn't have CA. The student had nothing, but the student scored 60/70 in the exam. But I really don't think that is for a student who is reading 2 weeks to an exam. You understand? Like for someone studying history like myself and Casimir, he understands very well.
Most of our courses are voluminous.
It will be difficult for you to accumulate so much in 2 weeks. I'm probably taking 7 courses, 6 courses, or 8 courses, 3 unit courses. I'm laying emphasis on the fact that it's 3 unit courses, and you know how broad they can be.
I want to just have one question before we round up with this show. Now, we want it to be a situation where students will have that belief that, okay, reading 2 weeks to an exam is not
Advisable.
Advisable. Yes, that we want students to have that belief, that mindset of reading every day or reading months before exam. Now, if you are going towards campus today, you will see students reading. Then you know that exam is 2 weeks, so exam in 2 weeks time. So, what could ginger a student to have that belief that, okay, reading 2 weeks on exam doesn't matter. What matters most is the earlier preparation.
I think the earlier you realize as a student
The
that
reason why
I am not in school just to pass exam, but rather to be useful to my society, the better for we students, you understand? Like for someone like myself, I even read before the semester starts. Actually,
wow.
There is a departmental handbook. I think every department should have one. I know the courses I'm going to be taking the next semester when I'm coming. So I get materials that are related to such courses.
All these things brings pressure to students. While they are reading, they're in a haste, reading 2 weeks. In fact, some of them they will not sleep well. They will not eat well. They are putting themselves under pressure.
Psychological stress comes into
Yes,
play.
and it will affect their grade, their result badly. So I want us to just give the students some piece of advice towards preparing for exam.
I think if I should give a closing remark, I would firstly make it very clear that students shouldn't wait till 2 weeks before the exam.
Exactly.
Because it is not advisable.
Yes.
It is catastrophic actually. Before you see your grades are in a terrible state and you start accusing lecturers of probably not taking you properly, and you are the one who have actually left the job. Just imagine you are saying a job that is given to you for a whole year or probably for 3 months, for 6 months. You want to take care of such a job for just 2 weeks is impossible. And most importantly, even if you are successful in that, you will break down.
That should not set a precedent on how you should prepare for.
Okay. Now, Casimir, from your own perspective, from your own view, can you tell us the duration of time or months or weeks one should put in place while preparing for exam?
I think for a student,
Remember, we are tackling how to make good grades. So, tell us the amount of time one needs to use in preparing for an exam to have good grades.
in my opinion, I think that a student is supposed to start reading immediately the semester resumes.
Perfect.
But in the absence of this preparation from the onset of the semester, a student could also read with the stipulated 2 weeks and also pass. And several things have to be put in place, as I mentioned earlier. Things like knowing what the courses entail,
Exactly.
adding to the fact that the student is expected or is supposed to be expected to have the
Continuous assessment.
continuous
PCA.
assessment in a healthy state.
Also, the
But in the
assignments
absence
too.
of continuous assessment, with the example that Levi gave on our lecturer that said a student that never attended any, that had 0 in their CA, scored 60
It's
in the
quite
exam hall.
impressive.
And this
Wow.
is because this lecturer, on his own accord, is a very kind-hearted people. I mean, he's a very kind-hearted person, considering the fact that some lecturers will penalize you for not attending any of the
I think
classes.
university law actually do state that you have to
That you are
attend
not supposed to
75% classes before you
Before
can
you
even
are
That's-
allowed to
qualify
sit.
to
That's
sit
the
for an
point you
exam.
are making. Some students, they don't know the reason why they are in school. Some of them are just in the school to just come for coming sake. So if they have that belief, that mindset, okay, I'm aiming for a better grade, definitely they must not miss classes. They must not miss classes. They must not
But
miss
it's not only on seriousness that actually makes students not to attend classes. Some of them have family issues. Some of them have financial crisis where they are in school and they cannot pay transport because of the hiking cost of literally everything. Some of them have housing issues. Some of them have problems with their roommates, and some of them even have to go back to their houses. And these are some of the things we'd have to look into, maybe in subsequent shows. But
I think we should look into how to cope in school with all these challenges. It will be very
and rising in
Okay.
Yes.
Hello, viewers. We are coming to the end of this show. In a nutshell, what we are trying to tell us is that reading 2 weeks to an exam will not guarantee you to have a good grade. You understand? What matters most, number one, is you must make sure your CA is in place, never misses lectures, always, pay attention to whatsoever the lecturer is teaching you. And I believe you put all this into practice, I believe you must definitely have a good grade. So thanks for being with us, viewers. Please don't forget to watch our next video. We'll be dropping very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.